Hello and welcome to the newly rebuilt Jacopagua circuit. I don't know if I've pronounced that right, probably haven't. Or easier to call it the Autodromo of International Nelson Piquet, something like that. It's definitely a Nelson Piquet track. We were actually meant to go to a Nelson Piquet track for this round. It was up in Brasilia, but that got cancelled unfortunately and moved to here. It's just like how it was in 1988. It's the same actual track that we used in SRS for the first round of that season. Um, yeah, built exactly how it was in 1988. So if you're wondering why there's March, Ligier, Tyrrell, Benetton garages and Zach Speed garages, that's why. Because we've only had one practice session this weekend, and for Lando Norris and Yuki Tsunoda, it was not a good session indeed, especially for Norris. He crashed. I think it was his first flying lap. It's either his first or second flying lap. Going through, I'm not sure what turn it was. It was near the end of the lap. I know what turn it is. I don't know what number it is, but yeah, he went off, outbraked himself, hit the wall, and then came back onto the track. Not his fault. Not like it was an unsafe rejoin or anything, but it came back on and hit Yuki Tsunoda, putting them both into the wall, and it ended Norris's practice. Tsunoda was able to get back round to the pits to get repairs. But unfortunately for Lando, his qualifying was over, and that's why he's on medium tyres at the moment. He said earlier, and his team said earlier, that he'd used basically the first half of qualifying as basically practice, as he missed so much, and then he'll only have a few laps of actual qualifying. So yeah, hopefully for him, he can get everything sorted and all good. Speaking of things that are not all good, we've got Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, last week's race winner. I'm actually still surprised that he managed to win last week. If you weren't here, spoiler alert, he had a massive crash with Valtteri Bottas. Bottas was a lap down. Leclerc was near the back as well, but Bottas was having a horrendous race. Basically, Bottas went off at the South Bend, hit the wall very hard, came back onto the track and was hit. Thankfully, it wasn't really a T-bone. It was more of like the front of the car that got hit, the front wing. Unfortunately, he has been ruled out of the next few races with a ankle fracture, something on his ankle. I think it's his right ankle which got injured, which means he's going to be replaced for the next 2 rounds by Frenchman Théo Pourchaire. Of course, the Frenchman currently leading. Is he leading? He's either leading or second in the F2 Championship this year. He will be replacing Bottas for this round in Brazil and next week in California. Then of course there's no F1, while SRS are in Daytona for the Daytona 250, the final round of their playoffs. And then the Chinese Grand Prix, Bottas will also miss. However, that is on the same weekend as the Abu Dhabi round of the F2 Championship, the final round for that. And Pourchaire has announced that he will be taking part in that, so Alfa Romeo will probably have to find someone else with their reserve driver in Abu Dhabi, and them needing a driver in Zhuhai for the Chinese Grand Prix. Of course, first time China have been hosted an F1 round since, when was it, 2019? Of course, with COVID and all that hitting the country, was not ideal at all. But I mean, hey, it kept Villa in the Premier League, so can't complain about it too much, can we? But anyway, more on Pourchaire. There have been some rumours that they will use whoever they're using for the Formula 500, the IndyCar driver, in the Alfa Romeo seat. Of course, each team for the Formula 500 gets a NASCAR driver and an IndyCar driver. Some have signed them already. I think McLaren have actually signed both. They've signed Pato O'Rourke, their IndyCar driver, and Kyle Larson as their NASCAR driver. Of course, both NASCAR are also going to Indianapolis next year for the Brickyard 400, replacing the race on the Indy Road course, of course. So them and the Xfinity will be going there, whilst the trucks are at IRP. Yeah, apart from that, what else am I saying? We've also got, we haven't got anything. Bottas should be back in time for the Daytona 305, so that's good for him. I mean, at least he makes a Saturday night race in Daytona. He'll make the rookie orientation test for what is it? In the Formula 500, because if he doesn't make that, then he can't actually race in the Formula 500, and probably Pourchaire will have to take over. But I mean, as long as he's back for the Daytona 305, he should be fine. But, yeah, that's that basically. We've also got what do I keep saying? We've also got because we haven't also got anything. Anyway, Pourchaire currently 16th place. Let's see how Lando Norris is doing. Of course, has only had one lap all weekend, never driven this circuit before, neither has anyone else on the grid. Let's see how the Brit's doing. Currently 17th after, of course, the issues that he's had. I've heard coming through that he's been off a few times. No major offs, but just a few little mistakes that he's made, unfortunately. So, he's now down to 18th. Will this lap be any better, I wonder? I'm sure we'll get used to the track as it goes on. No, now down to 19th. So not an ideal qualifying session for the Brit. Of course, not an ideal weekend for the Brit. I'm trying to think of people that could have a chance, say, of replacing Pourchaire, or whoever you want to say is being replaced for the Chinese Grand Prix. Of course, you've got Andrea Antonelli in F2 next year. That's a shout. He could potentially be doing. I mean, he's not going to Macau, but Macau's not even that weekend. Macau's the weekend after that. I mean, they could use. They probably won't use an F2 driver. Jan Deruvla actually won't be at Abu Dhabi, and he's being replaced by Colapinto, so maybe Deruvla, but I think he's more focused towards Formula E. Of course, he's joining, so I think Maserati next year, replacing Edo Mortara, who's I think Mahindra bound. Who else have we actually got? I'm trying to think. Anyway, of course, Liam Lawson racing this weekend. Unfortunately, he did miss out on the Super Formula Championship last weekend. Of course, Kvyat replaced him for last weekend. Back Liam Lawson this weekend, who's been racing for this season, replacing Nick De Vries. He was Red Bull bound, replacing Sergio Perez. Funnily enough, it's been Yuki Tsunoda with the only win for any Red Bull team, Red Bull or AlphaTauri, since that swap happened. Yes, it was a sprint race, but still, Nick De Vries really has not shown his form. Anyway, Lando Norris has gone a bit fast. He's now up to 15th place. Is the Brit in the McLaren. Norris now up to 5th. That's a very good lap, especially on the mediums. I'm sure now he'll be coming into the pits, getting onto the soft tyres, and Yeah, he'll probably come into the pits this lap now, get on the softs. I'm sure his 5th on mediums is pretty good. Liam Lawson, 1 week on from, he's narrowly missing out on the Super Formula Championship. Currently P3, has not done that well since, or qualified that well since the Italian Grand Prix in early September. Of course, second place that race. Ended up DNFing actually, unfortunately. I can't remember if it was engine issues. Yeah, I think it was. Of course, the Italian Grand Prix on the old Monza had a big crash between Magnussen and who was it? Yeah, Magnussen and Sainz had that big crash after Magnussen had an engine issue and then Sainz couldn't avoid him. Of course, last week we had Bautista crowned Superbike World Champion. And now it's during the first race actually. Top Rack unfortunately could not catch him. I don't know why I'm saying that Top Rack's bad. I mean, Bautista shouldn't have won it. I mean, dominate the season. Yeah, speaking of that Super Formula race actually, because we had that big accident in the first race, Liam Lawson. I mean, if that race went the full distance, I'm sure Liam Lawson could have had a chance of potentially scoring a lot more points, but to be fair, so did everyone else. There was only 5 points in the end between Miata and Liam Lawson. Of course. Thankfully, both drivers in that horrible crash were okay. Rensato, I'm not entirely sure who the other one was, unfortunately, but yeah, it was a horrible crash at 130R. Right. It reminded me a bit of Zane Maloney and Oliver Goethe in Spa 2022, I believe, in the F3. Where it's kind of the same corner, Blanchimont 130R, they're kind of similar, and then too wide through that. Of course, thankfully in the F3 race, we didn't have one of the cars going down to another part of the track. Of course, the car that wasn't Rensato ended up by first Degner, so yeah, very scary crash. Thankfully both okay. But Lando Norris currently P3. The only two faster than him are Alexander Albon and Lewis Hamilton. Albon has got 1 pole this season, and that was in Misano. Of course, he had a horrible crash going over a curb, going down the back kinks. I'm gonna call it a back straight. It's not a back straight. Now Liam Lawson faster than Hamilton actually, so Lawson doing very well. Lando Norris down to P6 now. He's in the pits. I'm assuming looking at some data because, yeah, he's probably looking at data or something. And how poor is it that the F1 organisers couldn't put McLaren in the McLaren bit? Well, anyway, champion leader George Russell got pole in both races in Road America and VIR last week, so down in 7th at the moment. He's just behind Oscar Piastri on track. Nick De Vries as well. So many drivers that are normally near the back of the grid doing so well here in Brazil. Of course, it's a brand new built track here in Jacopagua in Rio. F1, I can't remember the last time F1 went here, to be honest, but I can have a look now. Of course, the circuit was originally destroyed, I think, in 2012 for the 2014 maybe for the 2016 Olympics. Yeah. Yeah, of course, opened originally in 1978. Yeah, closed in 2012. Hosted F1 in 1978 and 1981 to 89. Hosted the Rio 200 for the kart championship from 1996 to 2000. Of course, that was when they used the actual oval, which was built, not entirely sure when, but yeah, they had the oval, of course. MotoGP came here from 1995 to 2004, Stock Car Brazil from 1979 all the way until when it shut in 2012. Brazil GT 2008 to 2012, F3 Cedar America from 1989. Had a few gap years all the way until when it shut in 2012. The short track, which is a bit different since they came in. So what layout is this at the moment? It's a 1988 layout, so that record has become Riccardo Patrese in the last year F1 came here in 1989. Not too sure what Alexander Albon's current laps are. Well, 123, definitely a lot faster. 5.031 kilometers long this track, 3.126 miles. We've got 11 turns, and the circuit actually used to be a dirt track, I believe, in the 1970s. Let's get some corner names because actually can't find any. Nice. Racing circuits.info to the rescue. Let's see how Norris is doing, because I was very interested in how he's doing. He's back out on track, going through the final corner. It's a bit wide there actually. Maybe he's trying to swing it around to get on the lap as one of the Williams comes in. I think that was Logan Sargent. Norris goes through turn 1. I think he's already had one flying lap actually, which wasn't any good. He goes a bit wide there, and that's not going to help Norris. He's very pushing the car, and that could be at the end of qualifying. Hearing in my ear, oh, it goes wide again. I'm hearing in my ear that lap we did before was good enough for pole, apart from some mistakes. He goes off. Oh no! Oh, big hit for Norris. And that's what happens when you push too much, when you've had no practice. Basically 10 minutes on the medium tyre. He's back in the pits. He's getting out of the car. That is a good thing to see. I think it's only Alexander Albon actually on track at the moment, the pole sitter. And I think that'll mean, to be fair, 3.5 minutes still to go in this session. Alexander Albon probably is on pole for this race. Let's go on board with Albon for this next lap. I haven't actually had a on board lap as he goes towards turn 1. Through Molly Cosi, down through the hairpin towards Carlos Pache, another hairpin corner, very long right-hander, left-hander, sorry, where did I get that right-hander from? Towards Suspiro, fat out left-hander. Norris just had an accident. They've already cleared the car, thankfully. You can see where he went off. We'll get a replay of that after the session. Through Nonato and towards Nort, very tough left-hander. Down the back straight towards Sul, or Portuguese for north and south, I'm assuming. You can actually hit, it's not flat out this corner, but you can lift off a bit and take it, not braking, not flat out. Anyway, towards Guerrero, where Norris crashed in practice, and then through Moret and towards Lagoa, long left-hander, not exactly a hairpin, but not exactly a 90-degree left-hander either. Towards Box, which you have to brake for a little bit, and then towards the final corner, the hairpin of Vittoria, and that completes a lap of this Jacopagua circuit. Alexander Albon on pole, goes even quicker, I think. Yeah, I said that this circuit opened in 1970. This used to actually be not a dirt course, sorry, an oval course. Actually, it had a bit of dirt. There was a bit of dirt here. There was a section of dirt, but it used to be a bit like how Guyana and Curitiba is like at the moment. Of course, we're going to Curitiba next year for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alexander Albon is on pole with about a minute left in the session. He's the only man actually on track. So, yeah, he's basically leading. He's basically on pole. Yeah, Curitiba, of course, we're going to next year. It's actually said it's shut. It said it's shut in January 2022. So obviously it's looking like it's reopening next year. Of course, Curitiba hosted a lot of Brazilian, South American racing. So why is it shutting then? The circuit was sold. And buildings going to be put there. Maybe they're just pausing the building because F1's a lot more important and get them a lot of money. But if the circuit isn't owned by them, who knows? All we know is that we're racing there for definite next year. There are also rumours that one of the Australian rounds, we've got what have we got? The Australian Grand Prix. As qualifying over, by the way, I wanted to come into the pit. You've got the Australian Grand Prix and the Bathurst Grand Prix. It was meant to be the Sydney Super Night, but that got cancelled and changed to Bathurst. One of them could be replaced by Phillip Island. That is a rumour we've got. But, yeah, let's go through your grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix on Sunday, because Friday today. Felipe Drugovich will be at the back. Teo Porchero in his first F1 qualifying session in 19th. You've got Sainz, Logan Sargent, Tsunoda, Leclerc. Disappointing for him. He won last time out. Stroll again, he's second in the championship, 14th. Magnussen, Verstappen, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Joe, Piastri, Russell, championship leader in 7th. And it's the young guns, the ones that aren't normally near the front of the standings. Norris in 6th, De Vries 5th, Ocon 4th, Hamilton 3rd. Lawson equals his best qualifying position of the season in Lawson, and Albon does the same as Lawson, and he equalises his best qualifying session of the season. Both of them actually in Italy. Albon was in Emilia-Romagna and Lawson in Italy, Monza. But Alexander Albon, the Thai driver, will be on pole for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We'll be back tomorrow. 2 sessions, the sprint shootout and the sprint race. The sprint race, unfortunately, will not be broadcasted normally. It will be completely on board of Lando Norris. McLaren have paid that out, and Lando's dad, being as rich as he is, has also paid that out. But as long as Lando Norris will be in the race, it will be on board of Lando Norris. So, yeah, we will see you later on. Goodbye.